Hey dudes, it's your friend, the Reverend Pirate Frog. Come join me in the circle with my OG homie, Cots Growery, the plant magician himself, Mack Gardens, and of course, the better half of Frapple, Johhny Apple. Don't forget to pass to your left and have some fucking fun.
So, welcome to this month's episode of The Circle. I've got a very special episode for you motherfuckers out there who actually pay attention to this shit, because we've welcomed a new member to The Circle, Stoney Alpinist. What's up, my friend? How are you?
Well, I'm finally back in the saddle, man. Good to see you guys. Great to see you, gents.
Stoney.
Good to see you, buddy. So, if anybody listening hasn't heard of Stoney, you should absolutely check him out. I'm sure everybody has. You got to check out his page, but I'm gonna jump right in. Stoney, you got to tell me, man, what's up with the bonsais?
Oh man, yeah. It seems like everyone's starting to pop bonsais left and right. I think Cots and I, we got started pretty early on with the Tangy Tibuguana, getting started with that. I think it's just kind of taken off. I mean, mine was keeping some backups alive that I had in case I killed the first one going into the autopots. But once I had these other two, I was like, I can't get rid of them. And I didn't really know what to do with them. So I popped them into a bonsai pot. I think Cots was starting to talk about it. And, Alabri had mentioned it in one of the Discord chats. And I was like, all right, well, I mean, if everyone's kind of popping them in there, we'll see what happens. So I threw it into a gallon of organic soil in those little rectangle pots, and I had a lot of fun with the first one. And I think I also popped a banner at the same time and had them going side by side, and I took those 125 days, I think 120 plus days, and they smoke completely different than the other Tangy. But I'm actually puffing on some Tangy of the larger sister size right now. But once I started playing around with those bonsais and moving around, I realized it was really not too much further away from just LST that everyone was talking about. And I just think you kind of think aesthetically about it and a little bit of function and form at the same time. And everything kind of stays relative if you in a gallon sized pot. So it never really gets out of hand. Because I'm now seeing it I'm doing an Earthbox Junior. And I've also got one huge one sitting in a 5-gallon, just take it off. So seeing things side by side, they just really kind of work relative to the size pot. And then from there, it's really how you train them. And I see everyone doing, I think when I first started poking around, everyone called it the manifold technique. I think I saw people growing it around the circle or just kind of pulling them down and spreading them out. So it really is in effect the same thing. It's just the same method and technique, just and a little bit smaller of a scale. I mean, Cots is one that does it in small. So I mean, that to me seems like a challenge. And even Rev, you've got solo cup going right now. So I know I'm not the only bonsai. I'm seeing lots more around the community, but I mean, Cots, I know you've done it before.
Your autoflowers only. You're only bonsaiing autoflowers?
Yeah, I mean, I've only grown autoflowers so far. So to me, those feel kind of natural. And in the term, people see me use the term potensai all the time. It's a true term. It's an actual bonsai term because it's basically when a bonsai is growing, it's in potensai, right? I think it has a fun little play on words. And I think you guys know I have a little fun with playing with words, but the potensai is like a potential bonsai. So with autoflowers, I think they kind of hit that stage real quick. So it's fun. You can do all of the work right before they kind of get into the flowering stage. And once they're in flower, you can still manipulate them a little bit, but they don't. Most of their movement and any bends and twists and training that you're going to do, you're going to want to do in that first part of veg. So, and when I'm doing it, it's like every other day, kind of cinching down strings and adding new strings and tying and twisting and pulling and snipping, and it all just stays relative. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I think everyone's starting to dig it too. I've seen so many more people popping them in there, and it's like so many people did Pringles cans, in the past, and it's a true challenge to grow something like that in a gallon. So to the question around the autoflower, I think it's perfect in to do autoflowers in a small, because it happens really fast, and then you can move along and you can still smoke it. I mean, I think I didn't weigh it out, but I think I got maybe an ounce or so, a little bit more than an ounce. So that's a decent little fun smoke out of it. And to see it go 120 plus days and smoke it side by side. I mean, that's a whole conversation we can have another time, but it was pretty cool.
I'm curious because like with an autoflower bonsai, you're limited to what the plant's going to give you. It's not like you can create this thing like you could with a photo period. Like you can create a design. So you're kind of limited at looking at that thing and determining what kind of art you want to make out of it. That's pretty, I mean, basically, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, a lot of it has to do with, I tend to stay out of the way of the plant. And that's why I think I love autoflowers so much, is because if you've got great genetics and you've got great soil underneath it, and you just stay out of its way, it's going to do amazing things, right? And so I think there's that fun challenge of like, okay, just keep moving where the plant tells you it wants to go to. Because at that stage, you can really be creative and aesthetic. You've seen me use like those sticks and stones and that sort of stuff around on the pot. And I think using those as anchors and kind of pulling them, the plant starts to tell you what it wants to be. And then as it begins to flower, so you kind of have to start thinking a little bit further ahead. Like the one that I have now, the Mango Smile one, I think so far is, and I think it's probably good with any piece of work we as artists do. Everyone is a little bit better than the last one, right? But this Mango Smile now has probably got the most aesthetic curves. The leaves that are just the fan leaves that are laid out, so they're kind of stair step down. The one that just kind of points out, and another one that kind of swoops down. So it's kind of putting a lot of different traditional bonsai styles into play. So, I mean, Cots messed around with like those stones, man. Like that was the coolest thing. The washing of it too is so traditional. So tell us more about that, Cots, because dude, that's a long-term goal for me.
Before you go, Cots, the person who brought us in failed to do the very basic introduction of everybody who's on the fucking circle. So I'd like to introduce my buddy Mack. How you doing, Mack?
What up?
Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah,
Cots, I know your name was just said. Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
How's it going? Thanks for joining us. I'm Reverend. Johhny failed that, but thanks for joining us, Stoney. Now the permanent fixture on the circle. I hope that makes more sense for everybody now, so you can understand. Because, well, he said he was going to lead this episode, and he failed the first fucking task.
For Christ's sakes, we don't introduce ourselves every time we do a normal episode. Why the fuck?
Yes, we do. We literally do have an opening to the podcast where you introduce us, and then we literally go, "Hey, dude. Hey, man." Every episode. You just went straight into no. You know exactly what you did wrong. That when you went into a legit 7-minute conversation before introducing anybody.
Oh well.
It was the bonsai that got us carried away.
It was.
I'm pretty sure.
It was a great topic. I was super excited, but
I just really wanted to hear about the bonsai.
Yeah, everyone was just straight in. But we got to talk. We had to introduce Mack because he's looking so pretty for us tonight.
Oh yeah,
he's got that stash, $1 million stash, baby.
Yeah. For those of us who aren't watching us, because this is an audio only podcast, we are now trying something new. We got some video so we can see each other. So we're testing out the intimacy of video while we have a conversation for you. And also, I don't know why I keep doing this, but I enjoy it. The sound of my smoothing voice.
It's too hot to handle for me, so I can't have the
voice.
It is smoothing. I can't have the video for me on. I'm too busy.
Yeah, thank God. I was getting sweaty and heavy when you flashed us there earlier.
There's a reason I'm nude. I'm just kidding. But anywho, like we said again and again, Stoney's a permanent fixture, so we can keep going with the bonsai. Cots is obviously a high standard that we all follow, like Stoney was saying. I believe he asked you a question before I rudely interrupted to introduce everybody.
Yeah, I'm down to talk about bonsai. I love bonsai. Specifically canvas bonsai. I think it's been some of the most fun that I've ever had in the craft. And I can attribute a lot of that to the Tangy Tibaguana grow along that we started over in the Alabrije genetics Discord. And he was such a bro to get a cannabis bonsai channel going for us, which I think has done a lot in getting the community excited about something like this. So, Stoney, you have, first of all, man, I want to welcome you personally
Thanks,
to the circle, dude. It's so nice to have you here among us.
Thanks, dude. Hope you guys can hear my smile.
Yeah, dude. And I can see it too, which is great. This whole video thing is kind of fun. But yeah, man, the little thing that we've got going over in the Cannabonsai channel in the Alabrije Discord has just been really, really awesome. And I think as we've started doing this past the Tangy Tibuana Grow Along, we've seen a lot of people kind of jump in. And the fun thing about Cannabonsai is that you really don't need a lot to get started. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need any kind of genetics in particular. You need a seed in a small vessel with your medium in it and the ability to get creative, really, because that's what it comes down to. On the note that Johhny was talking about as far as yield, it's kind of it's not even a thing. It's an afterthought. Really, the whole purpose of Cannabonsai is to move away from that. We're growing small plants intentionally. We want them to be small. Sometimes we want them to be really small. And you can grow larger bonsai and you can grow them in larger vessels and you can kind of control that. I think that's what is most fun for me is that
was one of the questions I had. To interrupt you there, you can have a bonsai of any size.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
If you look some of the traditional bonsai that's out there, because I went down a rabbit hole of research when I started doing mine, just to understand styles and try and have some reverence back and harken back to some of the traditions of it, and just to understand some of the wording. And some of the ones that you see can be, almost 100+ years old. And these are trees that have been uppotted family generation by generation by generation, and they may fill almost an entire yard. So they're massive, right? All the way down to tiny ones that are just little tiny cactuses that are here. The idea of bonsai is to take everything in relative aspect and just make it smaller, right? Make it many. Right? That's the key. So when you look at like a good bonsai, it will literally just be a bush or a tree. So you could go to Home Depot right now and buy the starting bonsai. It'll take you 2 to 3 years of training, right? And snipping and understanding how to do it. And I think that's some of the beauty and the fun aspect of doing it with cannabis, with autoflowers, is that it happens like you've got 30 days, guys. And honestly, you get about 2 to 3 weeks of training. And then you're pretty much in the spot. And then you're just snipping to make sure the buds get light. And you're making sure that aesthetically it's looking good. And you don't want too much vegetation because relatively, if you think about it, all that vegetation needs nutrients from your soil. So if you leave all that on there, you're going to constantly be working it. So it's like almost, there is a real balance. There's a real connection more so to the plant. And it's almost like fast, rapid learning of how to do it, because
I agree.
I took 120 days and that thing was like way too long. I really just took it to the very last day just for fun, right? Because it was just kind of like, to your point, Cots, like it was just the plant. It was in another little tent underneath the light. And it was getting all the same, potions that I make normally, but I wasn't controlling the humidity on it. And the light on it was not super balanced. And I didn't have it on a timer. And I just kind of went down there and turned it on. But every day I loved looking at it, moving it, and, and what I got off of it was very interesting, almost like a little R&D aspect. Like I could taste when I harvested the Tangy, and I think, Mack, what were we like 75, 77 days? I think it was only a couple days behind you, harvesting the big tall ones.
Yeah. I think I took mine like 86 or something like that, 85, 86. Yeah.
And I mean, so to go another 40 days with it, I mean, the colors, everyone kind of watched it turn, which was cool to see everyone.
Man, it was super cool.
Yeah, to see how like all those colors develop in this essence.
I just want to say that as far as aesthetics goes, the string that you use to tie down with gives like a whole nother element to everything. it just, I don't know, it pops and it looks so good. I love
Thanks,
it.
dude. Chance happenstance. It's butcher's twine. I know we were
Yeah,
talking about it. I know Howling mentioned it to me, but
It's
it's just like
beautiful.
butcher's twine, and I went looking for it because it's natural to me, right? I'm used to tying things like meat and that sort of stuff up with it, but I also like I used a lot of like knots that I had when I was a kid and learned in Boy Scouts. I mean, they're slip knots, so it gave me a chance, and they're ones that I use in climbing now, and they're just simple little knots that you can kind of slide. So it gets me to tie them down. I have to use tweezers sometimes to get into there, and I got bonsai scissors, and I didn't go too far down the hole because I think it really, back to the point of what you were saying, Johhny, like to scale, right? I'm actually trying to do it now. I moved it up to the Earthbox Junior just to see, so I'm going from 1 gallon to like 3.5 gallons, right? And I'm doing the same process, and you've done it in your massive bed. And I think everyone, you were talking, Sea you Green not that long ago. I think everyone in effect does bonsai. You just probably don't realize you're doing it, right? It's just to an extent. I think that what pushes it over is when you begin to look at the aesthetic appeal and really see what that pot kind of visually does. And you guys have seen me pull that thing out. I stand back and move it around, and I see what the pot looks like, and I really do let the plant tell me where it wants to go. And I would have loved to take this one that I've got now, the Mango Smile, and do a full twist around it, but the cola started getting to the spot where I was like, it's gonna look way cooler if you just let it swing up next to that stick. It'll look so much cooler in photos. And here it is, like, I made that call, I think, like a week or so ago. And now I'm looking at it and it's like, it's so cool. Like the cola just sits right next to the stick, and all of those branches and stones, they all have deep meaning for me. So I think that there's more to those things. So those sticks are not just random ones I find in the yard, but I think that plays in the aesthetic too. It's a little memento for me. All of them came from stony spots. So all of the stones that you see sitting on the top of them were all picked up from, you know, trails and streams and rivers from around mostly the Front Range, but they all, I think that we all have those stones that do energy. So, but once you start really looking at it from an aesthetic appeal, I think that's what pushes it over to the edge. And I think everyone's taking these cool modern day approaches with it. Like I saw the one that's using characters and that sort of stuff and pulling things down with it. I think that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, I love the way Cots is like used stone in the last one. That's true classic technique, is to reveal.
And that tiny little bulb he has right now.
Yeah,
that one's so cool.
Yeah,
that's the pirate booty one, right?
Mhm.
So cool.
And I think
that's Pirate's Booty. Yeah, and you're talking specifically about La Bamba, which is the little one inside of the little Cuervo.
Yeah.
And honestly, guys, we get so many freebies and extra seeds that we've got that, I think we've all got at least a handful that we would be like, it's fine if it grows and it doesn't work and we just have to ditch it. Sure, there's ones we need to keep an eye on, but it's just a really cool creative expression too. I mean, I think it's just the way that we grow, and I'm fortunate to have some space in my walk-in that I can keep them over in the corner. And if they don't get all the light, that's fine by me, but they're getting some of it and they seem to do pretty good with it. And they get all the leftovers, right? A little extra potion from the bucket, splash a little extra water into them. They love it.
Yeah. There's always something left over that you can throw at the bonsai,
Yeah.
You can just toss anything in there, really. And that's the great part about the bonsai, is that they don't really take up a lot of space. You don't have to dedicate an entire tent to them if you don't want to. You can tie a solo cup to one of your poles on the corner of your tent and grow a little bonsai right out of that and stack them up. You can just have a couple of them in the corner of the tent. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually a super great way to get started with it too. If you're nervous or if you don't have anything, a lot of times sourcing ceramics can feel like it's more of a task than it is. You don't have to worry about any of that. Just use a solo cup. That's all you need to have in the beginning. A couple of freebies and a solo cup, and the ability to get creative, because So what you're doing, you're growing a small plant. You're not doing it for any kind of product at the end. I mean, I would assume it's not the best way to do it.
That's
And
the
honestly,
way I did it. That's the way I'm doing it right now. I have a zip tie that I zip tie. I started it and zip tied it to one of the poles. And then I had one of our buddy Merch's seeds because I was doing a couple in solo cups because of Mack. And I was like, oh, I'll just do it all together and make it kind of all in one. And it's freaking super fun, man.
Yeah, Mack, you've had some solo cup projects going for a while. Talk about some of the ones that you've done. Right? Didn't
Was
you have
it my phone? Well, I didn't tell you had to do solos, did I?
No, because I didn't say you. I didn't say you had. You told me I was inspired by you.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of people took inspiration from you. Were doing a solo cup challenge, I think, right?
Yeah, that was I grew Sapphire from Mutant Genetics, and it was like almost 2 ounces off of a solo cup.
Off of a solo cup.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, just casually 2 ounces, whatever, no big deal.
I mean, that stuff was good too. Like it wasn't terrible. Actually, I think it might have been like super terpy because it was so stressed all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a true test of skill when you guys grow them, those massive ones like that, in such a small amount of medium, right? Whatever it is, whichever medium it is, that you're playing with. It's definitely something you have to have hands on several times a day. And
I will say with solo cups, it is a billion times more impressive in cocoa. It is insane to do it in cocoa.
But listen, so they probably needed watered like 6 to 8 times a day. Or, well, not they, but that one specifically. And I was getting in there like on good days, maybe 3. But most days just twice. And it didn't really seem to affect it too much. I mean, it turned out really good, and it didn't even really get ugly until I started blasting it with light at the end. So it was pretty cool. But the soil thing, man, it doesn't matter because 14 days in, you're out of nutrients. So you better be on your shit, So to me, being able to do it with soil is more impressive.
Yeah, I've got 3 at like 35, 32, and like 30 around there. One of the bonsais I think is a younger one, but I did soil. But what I did is I layered it. So I did Coco Loco on top, and then Stonington blend on bottom, and then I left room so that I could top dress constantly with worm castings, and then I kind of have it like in a sip setup where I have an outer cup and then I have holes in the bottom. And that's the only way I think I could do it because it's you basically just constantly keeping the little bit of water.
Hey man, it's working. They look good.
Yeah, but thanks, man. It's
wait till like they're gonna be dry. That sip system up, dude.
Oh, it's gonna be miserable. That's what I was like. I was like at 35, and they're already. I'm like, man, this is
40, 45. They're gonna start drinking.
Oh yeah, I was taking a picture and I was like, "This is probably the last time that I'll be like, oh damn, that's a good picture," because it's gonna be playing catch up and going, "Son of a bitch."
My rock bonsai just crossed day 46, I think, and is drinking pretty hard too.
Oh, I bet.
And she's in a slightly larger vessel. It's like I want to say maybe a half gallon of substrate, but that ceramic is a little bit larger, and she's got the whole pot. The good thing about it, though, is that with that extra soil, I'm not getting as bad of a nutrient issue because, Mack, you're absolutely right. Like my tiny tibby, my first project, I could sense that happening really early because the tangy tib iguana was just incredibly hungry to begin with. So I was getting a lot of deficiency problems with mine in the beginning, and I had to adjust quite a bit. I don't even think I fully caught up ever, but you'll find that happens very easily with these small containers. You're going to run out of nutrients and you're going to have problems. Your swings are going to happen a lot quicker as well. Because this is all, especially with autoflowers, this is all really kind of like a shotgun project. So, under 100 days, or, Stoney's got, his couple of long girls, 120. But we're talking about relatively quick projects as opposed to even doing cannabonsai with photos where, you know, you can take a project for a couple of years if you want, because you can keep the plant in vegetative state the entire time. With an autoflower, it's just a shotgun. You're just going to go start to finish, and whatever happens, happens. And I honestly think that's what's so much fun about the autoflowers in cannabonsai, is that these projects are really quick. So you can do a lot of them. You can continue to experiment. You can start a project and start another project. You can do all kinds of stuff with the autos because you know it's just going to be a relatively short project and in the end.
And if you only get the small amount out of it, you probably get more benefit just from growing it, right? The connection with the plant itself than you do at the end of it. And, you know, like I said, freebies is a great way to go about it. And then go size and scale too. I mean, I've also got the pot that was sent to me from Alabrije for winning the contest for it. It's probably a half gallon. And one of the things, you know, I've got some perlite at the very bottom of it, and then I've got the 3.0 from Build a Soil, and then I've got just a little stone, a little climbing hold that's got it running right through the center of it. I'm a little nervous, just like you guys are, with the amount of volume that's into it relative to what I've got sitting in the earth box. I got nothing worried about that one. It's drying out for the next day or so to get a nice little potion tea, and it's going fine and nothing to worry about with that one. But now that small one, I'm a little nervous about it because it's going to take a lot more hand attention to it. But I also set it up just exactly the same way that I did my autopots. And I'm going to try and put it into one of my little autopot trays for a little while because I'm kind of between cycles and perpetual. So I'm going to see if it'll actually go like kind of sub-sipping for a little while. Be interesting to see. But to that point, you learn this one. And if it fails, you know, I don't feel so bad. I was fortunate enough to get a bunch of extra beans from him too. So, you know, I'm going to experiment. And that's one of the things I love about him is he experiments different ways, different mediums, all sorts of things to grow. So I never felt bad losing any of the Alabrije beans because I, you know, feel like I'm just being a part of the community with it. So have fun with them. I think that's the biggest key. Like, don't feel that you have to do traditional styles. Like you see people using like toys and all sorts of things. Like, just have fun with it. And don't count on what comes out of the end. Get what you need out of it during the process.
Yeah, that's right. Here at the Circle, we say just use toys, baby.
There you go, dude. Well,
yeah.
However you need to experiment, my friends.
Exactly.
Cannabonsai for the win. What's everyone smoking on?
I am currently smoking on Tangy Tibaguana. It's my last jar, sadly. It's gone longer though than I ever expected. My Queen's Banner went first because I was saving Tangy, but it's just so special.
I'm long out of Tangy Tibaguana. I'm so sad about that.
I'm sorry. What are you
smoking on?
Some
Lilac Diesel, and I put a little bit of the pure indica or Steve Murphy's Afghan from Ag Seed Co in there, just a tiny bit, because I can't just smoke pure indica or purest indica. It'll put me right to sleep. Yeah, it'll literally put me to sleep.
That's that Ambien.
What about you, Mac?
Oh, I'm smoking Pucker Up. You know, I love that stuff, and I've been able to make it last
a long time.
Yeah, well, there was a lot of it.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Stoney?
Tangy Tibaguana.
There we go.
To your point,
man. I can't do that stuff on here anymore. No tangy, no tangy for me on podcast night.
I have been a bit chitter chattery, but I throughout the afternoon I was smoking some of the 120 day, and then just before the show had a little bit of the big sister of it. So it's probably why I can't wipe this cheesy smile off my face. But yeah, it's definitely in a tangy mode. But to your point, Rev, like I'm holding back. It's actually my medicine. It's what I need during the day for if I'm just having a rough day and want to get some giggles or want to get outside, or if I want to pick up an instrument and pick around on it, or just have some fun and be creative. Like it's so I ration it definitely for sure. I've got plenty of other right now. I'm fortunate to have some strains but tangy Tibaguana right now for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. What about you, Johhny? Mr. I'll lead the episode, falling asleep on his goddamn couch.
Nah. Man, we got our shit list. So I'm going to use my shit list segment to shout out a friend of mine. A good friend of mine came over and bailed me out, man. My stash recently dwindled to fucking zero. And this guy, he had planted originally the headstrong that I grew. He's the original seed planter. He sent the DNA test. He had 7 seeds he planted, and one of them was male. So he had given me 2 of the females plus the male, and then gave another dude 2 the other females, and then he grew 2 headstrongs at home. He grew way more than he could ever consume, and he came over and just dumped a load on my lap, man. He completely bailed me out. So shout out to him, man.
Shout out, true friend.
Yeah, man.
Great,
right on.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah. So shout out to him.
Hell yeah.
And I'm smoking on some fucking headstrong, man.
There you go.
Why did he dump a load on your lap?
That was unexpected, but he had to pay somehow.
Because of the load I dumped on his.
That's awesome, dude.
Like the load that's on your face.
What a great friend.
So here's the...
Well, he's the reason Johnny's not being a dick, so I'll say thank you to him as well.
Thank you too, dude. We can thank him for the excellent job you are doing leading.
Oh, yeah. So, Mack, what a man. Mack, my main man, Mack. Let's talk about sub-irrigated planters, man. You're such a fucking amazing growers with those auto pots, man. I want to compare them and talk sub-irrigated planters with the earth box.
It's the same shit with a bigger reservoir, basically. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, it's the same thing.
How often? Now, this is probably based on reservoir size. So how often with like a regular standard size kit, like what size reservoir comes with that kit, and how often? All right, let's say two plants.
It's like a 12-gallon.
Okay, so how long with 2 plants would you have to do you have to fucking fill your reservoir?
Soil or cocoa?
Yeah.
All right, let's go soil, because I think most likely in an earth box you're going to be soil.
Probably. I mean, like once you get them through by the time you can turn them on, about 3 weeks. I would wait like 3 full weeks in soil, and then and then as long as everything's been going good, they should have a root zone that can handle it, and then turn it on, and you'll probably get 7 to 10 days out of a reservoir in soil at first, and then once they start drinking more, you might be filling up with water a couple times a week.
Okay, that's not terrible.
With the 12-gallon on 2 plants, like me, I'm with these. I got the Ford pot, and
especially in cocoa,
right? And 12 gallons. Yeah, it's like every 3 days I'm mixing up a Riz.
Wow.
Okay. Padre, what about you? How often are you filling your reservoir? Like for each one of your different size plants.
Well, so for the first 2 I went early, I think like 18 to 20 ish. You always judge based on the plant, like Mack was saying. You gotta envision the root ball. But I would say the first go round, it's always like 2 weeks they take to drink the res. A little, a little quicker in my instance just now. But then once they get going, it's probably I fill a res every 3 days, maybe every 4 days, maybe 2 days in flower.
Okay, that's about what I was getting, even with that Top Gun, that big fucking ugly
it's the
thing.
Same.
It was probably every.
It's the same thing, except for I would imagine that with auto pots, you can force feed so much more water that they're capable of drinking more water or get more used to having it that readily available. But also you have a bigger reservoir, which is great.
Well, and in auto pots, there's not like a 2 gallons available to them all at once. It's like with the pot sitting in the tray that fills up the tray perfectly, and then there's like a place where the valve goes that all fills up with maybe like 3/4 of an inch of water, so they take it up like fairly quickly. There's never really a chance of them just, unless they're not drinking it for some reason, there's never really a chance of them just sitting and sopping wet media.
You can definitely mess up earth boxes if you fill the res too early, I can imagine, because you just got water sitting there, but
For sure.
And I'd imagine it'd be the same thing with auto pods,
and it's a big body of soil
it's
for
huge.
one plant. So
no, the same with auto pots. I think if you turn it on too early, it will definitely have an impact on it. With this one, I think the most success that I had was running like the quart collar, a quart container, like cut the bottom of it off, and then I was really only watering about a quart at a time, right? And so then I could kind of keep an eye on the percentage wise. During that first kind of like, I think it was maybe after the first week is when I started doing 10% of the quart, right? And I would just water that in on a daily basis. And then after about the second week or so is when I slid the collar off, and then I started watering the whole pot to start bringing life back to the rest of it. And then on just before week 3 is when I turned it on. But then I only make when they're small like that. It's been a couple times now. I'm only making like maybe 2 gallons of potion at a time to dump into the res, rather than making a big, 4 or 5 or filling that thing up. I'm only making 3 to 4 gallons at a time now when they're in full flower every few days, just because I know pH slips, and the things that I'm popping into the potion too. I just want to make sure that I get them fresh. There's some enzymes and stuff going into it, and want to make sure that there's good life. So for me, I don't necessarily want to fill up the whole res. I just want to do smaller bits at a time.
That's what I do in veg. I just do like 5 gallons at a time in the res, and then once they start drinking that within a couple of days, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fill you up then. So then I fill it up to 12 gallons, but I actually just switched nutrient lines and stuff, and the pH has been holding like perfect. Whatever I get it set to, it just stays there. So
I think you did more research into switching lines than a lot of people do before they get or start a business or get married.
Yeah, I really was like digging into a bunch of them pretty hard.
So what'd you switch from and to, and why? So other people may understand your wisdom.
So I was using Floraflex and mix into their chart like I always did, and I used to measure the EC, and it would come out to 2.1. Well, they made a cow mag product, but they said you don't need it. But I kept mixing my nutrients the same, and I decided to measure it because my plants were looking fucked up, and it was at 1.6 EC mixed to the same chart. So I had just re-upped on nutrients and bought some 5-pound bags, and I think they changed the ratio or something. So I ended up finding an organic synthetic hybrid line called Remo Nutrients, and I'm excited about trying that. So excited that I switched mid-run on both of my tents, and they love it. So
awesome.
They're obviously getting something now that they weren't getting before.
That's never a good sign.
So,
well, if you've been drinking beer all night and all of a sudden you get a nice cocktail, nothing beats that, right?
Yeah,
sends you
man.
right over the moon.
Yeah, and there's like kelp and all kinds of stuff in there, which I know that
That's
helps,
awesome.
like keep the root zone healthy and all kinds of shit. So
kelp's just great all around.
Yeah, Mango Smile's loving it. I'll tell you that.
God, it's such a beautiful tent. If you haven't, guys, go check his pictures out. He's holy shit.
She done took over.
Yeah. But that canopy, I mean, Jesus.
I know. I took the net out because I could already see that like it was going to be way too packed under that net in a 3x3. If I stretched her all the way around, she would have took up all the space because she was stretching so hard. So I just pulled the net out and just let them go.
It's the best. It's the one time you got to embrace the chaos.
Yeah. Hey,
That would be, that'd be a bitch that you're going to start fighting too.
I'm pretty sure we share chaos as a middle name. So
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a prerequisite to joining anything associated with YAG. Embrace the chaos.
So, Mac, where you at with the tangy reversal there?
I'm getting ready to start it. I'm trying to decide what day this week I'm going to start germing the beans. That way I could try to time out like when I'm going to have time to put them in their pots and shit, because I've been working a lot. So I'm trying to think what day is going to work out best for me, but it's going to happen one day this week. I'm going to germ the seeds. So
I again want to thank you. I want to thank you for all of humanity.
And people wondering about the process.
Yeah, I was going to ask, are you going to do a step by step?
Yeah, I'll just make like
Yes.
I'm just going to probably post pictures of them every day and just say what I did, and that way everybody can kind of see. And it's cool because as they watch me, they're also seeing Alabrije's method because he's walking me through the entire process.
Yeah.
Like
He's such a cool dude.
I'm gonna start 4. I'm gonna start 4 of them, and I'm gonna reverse all 4 of those, and then I'm gonna chop 3 of them and take the one, whichever one I feel like is the one. I'm gonna keep that, and that'll be the reverse plant, and then I'll get some other ones going and get some pollen on them bad girls.
Hell yeah! I can't
Cool,
wait,
man.
Yeah. Follow Mack around like a stalker. Join on the Discord to watch all the pictures. And one thing I know about Mack is he loves being annoyed by similar questions without doing any amount of research. So just ask him really, really broad questions.
Man, I just answer everything.
I know, you're the best. There's a reason I love you. Well, that and because I can look at you with that mustache, baby.
Dude, Ron Jeremy.
I do what? Perfect.
Jesus Christ. That one threw me for a loop. I don't even know where to go from here. Good thing I'm leading this fucking shit show. Oh, also, here's my dog. Again.
Attack there.
Mm-hmm. So, so I wanna confess, I've started some new seeds. I've started these seeds a way I've only ever tried one other time and had successful. And I planted all 12 of my hella jellies in peat cubes in an arrow cloner. So vacuum tube macaroni. So they've been in there 24 hours now, and this is my DIY arrow cloner, all 12 hella jellies in peat cubes in the arrow.
Don't you owe
Where's
Max
the
some?
shop vac?
Huh?
Didn't you say you'd give Max some?
Yeah.
You owe him at least a clone.
It's too late now.
No, you're getting a clone. You'll be the R&D for our clone through the mail.
I don't want spider mites or PMs. I'll buy some hella jellies.
Yeah, I'll buy the pack.
No, I had spider mites on my prop tent, which was very under, like, I barely had roots on the cuts that were in there. And actually one of the moms that was in there, the one that didn't have web all over it, but I did see some mites on the bottom of the leaves, was the Banana Milk 3, which was a cut that had rooted. I transplanted into a solo cup, filmed the whole top of it, and then rerooted that fucking cut in the arrow cloner after that. And that thing got just a couple of fucking mites on it. So like that was the healthiest of them. So it wasn't surprising me that I had spider mites on those. And the Banana Milk PM lasting the way it did, there was just no way I ever got it completely the first time. That's why I just kept seeing it fucking coming up. So no matter what I did, I still had fucking fans blowing at a little fucking spore around. It wasn't going to take nothing, because when I finally did cut it down, I was able to fucking see like, oh yeah, there's some fucking right there. Like That's what's going on. I didn't get the spray in this one spot, and you could see it fucking heavy. I was like, oh yeah, yep, no shit.
Did you have to like get all new carbon filters and shit, or did you just spray them down with something?
I sprayed. Oh, I did get a new carbon intake filter, and then I hemmed and hawed about replacing my exhaust filters, but I did eventually replace the exhaust filters too. But yep. But here's the thing, like I could replace all that shit. I'm not replacing 70 gallons worth of fucking soil.
Yeah.
So the spore is going to be in there. It's going to be a battle for me to create the right environment or to fucking kill it as best I can, so
no,
I can't provide the environment for it.
Dude, there's good IPM sprays that you can get that'll prevent that shit. So
yeah,
if you're looking to avoid it and you know about it as a possibility, you can stay on top of it from the very get go.
Yeah.
So you don't see it and then go, fuck, now I got to deal with something I don't want to deal with, and then that whole spiral.
Well, the weather's been fucking wonky here, so it's been humid as fuck, and I've been like worried about my shit. Like, damn that.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I'm not far along, because California, it's been raining like nonstop, and then it stops for a day or two, and then it rains again, and then
it's been like rain,
landslides
snow,
and shit. Yeah,
rain, snow, rain. So it's been humid as fuck, man. So I've been worried about mildew stuff myself. I've been making sure the fans are staying turned up and staying warm enough. That way, because the cooler it gets, the worse. But I picked up some Athena IPM to spray them with.
Oh, right on. I don't think we touched on it. What do you got going on in your tent right now, Mac? We'll start with you, and then I'll go around. Let the people know.
Yeah, I got 4 Blue Zerosa and a Mango Smile in the 3x3 with the tray set up. And
the jungle, Randy's jungle.
Dude, I literally, when I went through and cut all the stuff out that was just like getting no light and took a bunch of leaves and stuff, it was like more than a 5-gallon bucket full. I have the Autopot, it's the propagation dome thing that they have, and it's kind of big. And I filled that whole thing up with branches. It was like somebody else's whole plant.
Wow.
And it's still packed in there.
I was going to say, and it came back the next day.
It's still packed in there. But I got that, and then I still got I'm pushing close to day 70 on the 4x4 with Runsberry Blues, Strawberry Milk and Cookies, True Mack, and Green Guy's Blueberry Grape. That's just a beast. Like, her branches are starting to like flop around in the wind and shit because they're getting a little heavy on there. And she still I'm going to probably take that thing 85, 90 days.
Oh, yeah.
So,
before we move on, I want to say congrats to BGG on his last drop. On the 16th, he had his drop in his box sets. There was a crazy fight for him.
Yeah, man. I think there's only like 3 packs of Odin Sons left, and he's not going to make those available again. So if y'all been thinking about it, there's only 3 packs left.
I sent him a message, and I was like, I want that blueberry grape, those monsters. I want to see it. And he goes, oh, you wouldn't like it as much. Do this one. So I was like, I'll trust you. Send me what you want.
It's because it's not your type of smoke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And we all know that.
Yeah, it's obvious.
But real quick, I also got my photo run started.
Oh yeah. I was gonna go back to you because there's a whole big news there too. I didn't know if you wanted to share it now or at the end.
Yeah, the 4x4 is going to be photo periods this round. So the only autos I'm going to be running is this Tangy Tibuguana project, just so I can focus on it. And I had to tell Green Guy I was going to sit this round of testers out because I want to be able to focus on the Tangy and not have my Odin Sons or testers get pollinated by Tangy. So I'm just going to take it easy, and I'm going to have the photos in the closet, and then in the 3x3 in the next room, I have my Tangy project.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be nice. Photo periods kind of seem like a little bit of a break to me because they're just you can take your time, and they have like less high maintenance needs most of the time.
It's not a ticking time bomb.
Some of them might be,
Yeah.
but you got finicky ones, but for the most part, they're pretty forgiving compared to your autos. And I just want to dial in this new nutrient line, and it's easier to dial in on the photos because the autos just move so fast that you got to know. You got to be on top of it. So if I can learn it on the photos, like if I make a mistake, I'll be able to correct it with the photos. So that's pretty much why I'm doing it.
It makes all the sense, and I couldn't agree more. It's especially the good thing about photos is if you have something going on in your life, it's never as important as just that day. Whereas sometimes with autos, you're like, I missed a day, I fucked the whole thing.
Yeah, yep, yeah, stunning. Well, that's stunning now.
Yep, it's like fuck.
I've been there so many times, dude, where it's like I know I need to do something, but I'm either not home or
or get distracted or even just miss a date. You're like, oh shit, was that today?
Yeah, dude.
But all right on, dude. What about you, Cots? What do you got going on right now? Other than taking amazing pictures that are sweeping the internet.
So my 3x3 has the autos in it. That is the Blues Rosso from Alabrije, and then Ice Bake Tester from Mephisto, Strawberry Milk and Cookies from Night Owl, and then also the Mango Smile for the Mango Smile Grow Together that we're doing from Mephisto. Those are all, I think, just past day 60, day 61. So that tent's almost done. And we're going to take them down within the next couple of weeks. I don't really know exactly when, but everything in my system tends to finish up in the early 70s. That's just kind of how it works. So
it's a thing of beauty.
I'll start.
It causes me great jealousy constantly.
It's just a quick system, you know.
Yeah,
and
it's great.
The craziest thing is that it's like no matter what I throw in it, I just feel like everything done to my preference within that time frame. I've taken a couple a little past that, and I've harvested a few early too. But I'm usually harvesting everything in the auto flowers around day 70, day 72. So that's what I'm anticipating. I'm looking at the next 2 weeks, really dialing in and figuring out when I'm going to chop. I've got some photo periods going as well in my 2x2s. Couple of notable ones. I've got the OIG5 cross to Lumbagoo. I got that from Stir Fry. He's a member of our Discord family, and he's got a bunch of cool projects that he's always working on. So
you just planted some haze, didn't he?
Some of those. Yes, he did. Yeah. And he's planning a lot of stuff for his outdoor this season too. So you'll see a lot of this stuff show up. And I was
got him
really excited
scheduled for April, I think.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so he'll come on and talk about it and let you know exactly what all this stuff is. But I've got one of those in there. I've got a couple of Gary Payton cross the 2R9 OG. One of them is not my favorite, and another one is my favorite. So
no bias at all.
I planted two beans, and that's the great thing about when you get two females, you get to pick a winner if you want, if either are good enough to pick, and one of them is and one of them is not, which is cool. And then I've got a couple of my mom's reset in there. I've got a Tia, a Sunshine, got a Purus Indica, which is a new addition to the team, and then a Propagation tent, just a couple of the clones from the hunt. So I've got everything backed up now and rooted into solo cups, as well as Blue Dream, which was one of the varieties that I planted in this Phyto hunt, ended up having 2 males out of those. So I kept one of them, and I'm just keeping it in my stable for now until I figure out what's going to happen, and we'll probably be using that mail for something in the future. So the garden.
Oh yeah.
Who's next?
That leaves Stoney.
Yeah, man. All sorts of fun things going on in the garden. I think everyone's been kind of seeing the mango smile, right? Both in bonsai form and then the big full-sized one.
And the flowers.
Ish. I've got a Saint Expeditus going as well from Night Owl. Kind of learned my lesson. I think this is one of the ones I learned about overwatering early on. I think she's not going to be very tall, but she is gorgeous, and I will keep her going in the auto pot. Definitely learned my lesson from it. Then I've got two Tropwiz V2s gone. They were actually from my first run, and they were two that were, well, it was the one that I ran out of first, and probably my favorite from the first round that I did. So I wanted to regrow those. So one of them is in the bonsai form, so that's in the Earthbox Junior, and then I've got one being hand watered in a 5-gallon sit next to it that she's just getting beastly in her own right. And then and now, like just at about 5-6 days old, I've got one of the Olibrihe testers in bonsai in a little pot, and then kind of spread all throughout the garden. Have been some stuff from Baker Creek Seeds. So I've got Mexican sunflower going that I think just yesterday I posted a pic of the bud of the sunflower is actually shown. Like the flower is going to be out, I think probably within the next week or so. And then I've got Leprechaun Gold Columbine going. That's the one, of course, that looks a little like clover. I've got the purple ice plant, which has been my absolute favorite. This is the coolest one. If you've seen those, like it almost looks like an octopus arm. It's such a cool plant. Then as it was growing, and then it's got this little tiny purple flowers that pop out, but they only bloom during the day. So they start at about 9 o'clock in the morning. They'll start really opening up, and by about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, they're fully spread out. And then by about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, they start going back in. So super cool to see this purple stardust ice plant do its thing. I've also got some purple poppies going that I haven't seen too much of them yet, but just kind of had this blanket of sitting over the top of the pot. And then crimson flower or crimson clover. I haven't seen flowers come out of that one yet, but so those are all kind of spread throughout the tent. Like I said, I've got that with the walk-in. I've got space around the edges of things, and I love just setting them up in the garden. So lots of cool stuff going on in the garden.
Right on. Those ice plants are used in landscaping around here. And so they're often on like slopes and stuff like that. And so growing up, my grandparents had like those, there's like pink, white and stuff like that. But they're pretty wicked to slide down.
Seriously? I would imagine once you, after a good rain, you just go.
Oh, yeah.
See, we have these things called sleds here. Right.
Yeah, I would serve us no purpose out here. Unfortunately.
Well, it sounds like you can take runs down ice plant hills, but
yeah, it was surprisingly not devastating to my health. The amount of dumb things I did in my youth.
They're fun, man. They're gorgeous too. I mean,
yeah,
just for
bees love them, and unfortunately, I'm super allergic to bees, so I should have stayed away from them as a child.
Lessons learned the hard way, right?
I would love to take your surfing ass snowboarding.
I've been snowboarding. So the one thing that sucks about it is people always assume it's the same as surfing, but it's the direct opposite.
No.
And so when I was told it was the same as surfing, I expected it to be the same as surfing. And so I was, I think, 13 or 14 the first time I did it, and we were in Utah. I can't remember where. And I got off the ski lift, and it was my first time, and I went, oh shit, this is not surfing at all. This is the opposite. And I was headed for a jump, and I could not steer because for some whatever reason that I couldn't just figure out, do the opposite, you dumbass. So I just headed straight for it. And right as I went over it, I fell and I tumbled down the mountain on my first run. So yeah, Fucking lying sacks of shit. Yeah, it's just like surfing, dude. Nah. But so I kept to skiing, and much to my dad and all his friends, they love skiing. I'm not too much of a skier. I don't do well with cold.
Me either.
But I'll let you take me anywhere, big boy.
You'll be coming around the mountain.
When you come.
When I come or when you come?
Whoever.
Oh. When we come.
When we come. It's only fair if we both. Johhny, this is what you have allowed happen on your watch.
He's fucking eating.
I know he's seriously eating and drinking. I want you to know. I want everyone to know so that we can say last episode we always fight over who is going to be forced to lead these, right? And I've always lost. But last time we did this, Johhny goes, "No, I did," when he literally fell asleep during the recording. So I want you all to know that he's probably going to say he led this episode too, even though I've seen him eat at least 2 or 3 slices of pizza. In true New York fashion, folding it like a crazy man.
I know. I thought he was eating a taco.
So did I. I was all excited, but then I was like, "Oh, New York is pizza." Do you have to eat pizza once a day to stay in New York, or is it every other day they let you off the slide?
There's no rule. There's no rule.
There's no rule.
There's no rule. No, yeah, and I absolutely am going to say I led this episode just so you're all aware because I did. Like I started it.
You did. Yeah, I'm not going to argue on this one. You
hey, look, if I did a good job, you'd ask me to keep doing it.
Unfortunately,
that's not true. Wait a minute. Wait, you did ask me to keep doing it. This is like the 3rd episode. I've had to lead now. Would one of you slackers pick up all the slack?
Oh, fuck.
Dude, I'm telling you, you don't want me to do it because no one will listen to that shit.
Oh, don't lie. It's better than the nonsense that I ask people sometimes. But Johhny, where do you want to go from here?
Well, shit, man. Anybody got any new equipment or anything they're getting their hands on or curious about or any shit like that? I got something coming up. What about everybody else?
Yeah, man.
Tell us, Johhny. Love to hear it, buddy.
So I ordered a couple of the Gorilla Grow 10 lights. They were a touch more expensive, not a shitload more expensive than the AC Infinity, a touch more, but they go up higher. So I'm curious.
The tent?
The tent. Yeah. Yeah, they're taller.
I thought you said lights.
He said lights.
I was like, the motherfucking Gorilla Grow tent is making lights.
Gorilla Grow tent light line.
Yeah.
Light line.
Okay.
It's LITE.
I know. No, I got you. I was thinking, Mack and I were thinking lights for like grow lights.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's their light line. So I think it's
a
thinner canvas, maybe.
I forgot they had
but
that.
The price wasn't that much more expensive than what AC Infinity is. And I was super interested in the 7 extra inches in height that I get. Like,
that's really nice.
Let's try that out. So if it's a little bit more expensive, I'm curious to see like the quality still. Does it at least compare to the AC Infinity line, or is it even a little bit nicer than the AC Infinity 10s? So I ordered a 4x4 and a 2x4 for now. I'm anxious to see what those like. Excuse me. That pizza's fucking settling nice.
See, and there we go.
I wonder why there's a reason people don't eat during podcasts generally.
Well, it wouldn't be your average grow, right?
Give me
sitting at a restaurant. Yeah. Guys, give me a Tums.
Give me the calcium carbonate.
No, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I bet I can think of several instances where even in this last grow along that with the Tangy where people would have been doing a lot for 7 inches.
Yeah, there's that extra space in there. It does make a difference. When I look at an AC Infinity side by side next to mine, like my tent, my light's almost all the way to the top. It's just about a carabiner's length away from the pole. Maybe a little. I think there's the rigging rope in between, but I can walk in there with it being, and not have to bend over. So I can be fully inside of there and looking at it next to the, my 2x4. It's definitely limiting, especially when you're messing around with sizes like Mack gets and having to bend things over and, before it even gets halfway through veg for crying out loud. But having that extra space, I think you're going to dig it. And they said usually they come with an even taller one if you have that extra space. So mine goes up like, I think just at 8 foot or so, but it can still go like another 10, 11, and 12 inches, something like that with the extender.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
they go really tall. Zippers, I noticed a difference on the zippers too. A little bit heavier.
Now you have the actual line, right? Yours isn't the light line.
Correct. Yeah. And then I think the reflective on the inside, the Ford. Yeah. The conservatory, I think, is the new.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you don't really have to worry about it because you run autos, but have you ever checked for light leaks just to out of curiosity?
Yeah, totally. I haven't done, like what everyone says, where you go in there and kind of shut everything down and let your eyes adjust and look and see. It definitely would make me nervous. My intent in the very beginning for the tent was to go autoflowers, partially because of that. But I guess I would just trust that it's a gorilla. Now I have some unique issues with mine that I think it is something that was from initial sort of manufacturing, just a little bit off from it. So the zipper doesn't quite go all the way. It's a little too tight for it. But I don't see any light when I've gone in there and shut it off and turn back around. But to that extent, I've got 2 or 3 things in there that have lights on them that would probably have pretty big impacts on anyway. So I keep my radiator heater in there, my humidifiers in there. So they've all got the lights.
Makes sense.
My goal is to be able to put my lights in there and have more lights higher up, so I can run them a little bit hotter, higher up, and help warm the tents up a little bit too, especially like during this season. I think a lot of what my issue was is I was getting the one tent I had enough, but I wasn't getting the heat, or I was getting too much heat, and then it was drifting too low. So I'm trying to stabilize my temps and everything. I also did figure out recently the insulation in this fucking grow space that I got is non-existent, and I'm losing my heat, a lot of it. So I got to get that re-insulated up in the attic. We proved that. We did some tests with my the mini split. We were getting almost a 20-degree differential between what was coming out and what the room was. So I definitely was just losing too much heat, because it's insane.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. But so I'm hoping that the lights I could get go back to. I run smaller lights, so normally you can a 4x4, the 100-watt lights that I run, I think they're Vipar Spectre or something like that. You would run 4 of them in a 4x4. I got 6, so that way I could fucking heat it up a little bit more. So I like to run it that way, but sometimes it's a lot of light, and just being able to lift them up a little bit more and be able to fucking get the heat and have the fucking light dialed in a little bit better is super interesting. So it was worth a little bit of extra money. I think 4x4 and 2x4, it was going to be $100 more for the Gorilla tent line for both tents. So it's $50 a piece. Yeah, it's
might as well.
It's worth it, man. It's worth the curiosity. So start there and see. I'm just curious.
Right on.
Anybody else? What? I started it with a question, and then we only talked about me. Anybody else got any new equipment or anything?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna be getting another AC Infinity oscillating fan, because I got another one that's clicking right now. So. Third replacement going to be coming soon. That's my new equipment.
Do you have a high CFM kit on the fan? Is it clicking because your sides are sucking in and the fan's touching it?
It has plenty of room.
No, it's because it's a terrible fan.
I've got 4 of them. I haven't had any issues.
Well, I don't like the way that you can't control. Yeah.
Well, I have this is the third fucking one, dude, because I own 3, so now they've all taken the shit.
What the fuck, man?
Actually, I'm pretty sure one right now, the one that's starting to click right now, is one that was already replaced before. But it's cool. I'm just gonna turn the I'm gonna move it up and just fucking turn it up, turn the oscillation off, and I'm just gonna blow air around. I'm done fucking with these oscillating fans, dude.
Especially when you can only oscillate for a little bit of time.
I'm just
there's no way to
fan at
control
the
that.
bottom of the tent blowing up, and fucking a couple of just little fans on the pole just blowing diagonal across.
Yeah,
There you go.
like the hurricane fans.
Yeah, I've got one of those up.
I'll just use the broken AC Infinity fans. The only thing that's wrong with them is oscillating. So I'll just turn it off and just use those fans because they're really nice fans with like, they have brushless motors and shit.
Yep.
They're easy to take apart and clean, you know. So, I mean, they're nice, but the oscillating feature is just garbage.
Mm-hmm. I do like them.
I've got one of those little 6-inch inline boosters that I run. Just, I run some of the hose up to like on the floor up through the center and just kind of point it to just get some air moving straight up through a column. And when I started looking at the price of one of those, plus getting, 8 feet or whatever of hose onto it, it was cheaper than getting a fan or in a hurricane. And I can control it, just on a twist nozzle, just a little twist dial. But I turn it on and just let it run and just provide some nice, good fresh air from below blowing up. So creates a nice little column. And then I've got the hurricane standing up kind of on the tent and the wall. I think it's like the 15-inch with the face off of it, and no issues with it so far.
Dude, I bet that thing blows because I got this.
It does. It's on the lowest it goes.
Yeah, I have a 12-inch, dude. I can't even use it in the 4x4. It's like way
I
too
got
much
a 12-inch
air,
in my
dude.
4x4. It is fucking way too much. I got it up in the top.
It's like blows
top
the sides
corner,
of the tent.
completely above everything. Yeah, and it's like, yeah,
rocking the tent.
Yeah. I got
Yeah.
one.
I tried it in
other
the
fucking...
3x3, and it looked like a hot air balloon. It
I
was
was gonna say,
swelled the fuck
it's
up.
massive.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
no.
Hook up your jet engine to exhaust your little fucking tent.
Yeah,
I would recommend absolutely a 5x5 for that fucking 12-inch fan because you're right, 4x4 is massive.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've got it all the way pretty much at the top against the wall, and it definitely gets the window going on the lowest of settings. But the oscillating thing still works. Don't have any issues with it. And then I think that column on the floor just kind of moves things up and around and gets the swirl going, which I think is just the big key, right? You just got to get air moving around.
Yeah, for sure.
Air circulation is great, man. It
But
fixes a lot of issues.
I've definitely seen some issues on the tips of some plants that get too windy. So
I burned
something to watch out.
so many plants with windburn.
Yeah,
I even burned a little bit of the Marley with windburn because I put a fan under there because of all my humidity spikes and all that shit. And I was like, these 2 settings are still too high. God damn it. But yeah. I'd rather have too much circulation as long as it's not like hail force winds, within reason, than be like stagnant. You just got to remember that it's a weed. It's supposed to be outside. So it shouldn't be constant, not, 100 miles in a single spot all day, every day. Should be fine.
Oh, well, that's what I did to the neurotoxin when I grew up. Because when I had the neurotoxins in there, I had that fucking 12-inch hurricane just blowing. And I had it all the way at the top of the tent. But, dude, I'm telling you, it was in the 3x3.
Yeah.
It was like the sides were just puffed out. There was it was putting out more air than the exhaust fan could pull in. It was insane.
That's fun.
But they got all wind burnt and shit. So I took that fan out and then they were fine. But it was wild, dude. That fan is powerful. And I have 2 of them because I was like, oh, I'm going to get the 2-pack because it's almost cheaper.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. That's how they get you.
Well, in case of some kind of apocalyptic situation, you have giant fan blades that you can do something with at the very least.
Yeah.
With that in your tent, if you can get a generator, you'll have a airship.
No shit. Hook 2 of them bad boys up to the 3x3. We go to the moon, baby.
I'm a sky high. You don't got to worry about shit.
Oh shit.
Well, if nobody else has any fucking equipment. What about outdoor season, man? I know a lot of us is starting to wind down winter season. What is everybody doing for outdoors? What about you, Padre? I know for sure you gotta do something outside, right?
Yeah, once I shovel all the snow off my patio, no, I don't have much, I just have a patio. I have a little 4x4 square of soil that I got out there that I planted a bunch of carrots and peas and stuff, and then the broccoli took over, and then we got super cold, and then we had an abnormal winter for California. We've got landslides in San Clemente, and we have huge snowpacks. It's insane. There's still people trapped in the mountains and snow and stuff, and so all my broccoli bolted. So I didn't get any vegetables this winter, which is fine. I'm not crying, obviously. If I was expecting to eat off of what I have on my patio, it'd be stupid. But so I'm probably gonna just do. I don't know. I'll decide. I'm not in too much of a rush because we're gonna have a lot more rain supposedly. Like it's raining right now. So I'm kind of waiting, seeing what wild weather awaits.
Nice. What about you, Stoney? You gonna do anything outside?
Yeah, I was actually just pulled out my seed catalogs yesterday and started to flip through them, thinking about what I'm going to pop outside. I've got lofty goals to build something that's covered, and just where I live, we've got so many different little creatures around here, and I live pretty close to some big fields with overspray, so eating the stuff out of my yard is probably not the greatest. So, I mean, I'm only just a couple blocks away from big corn and soy fields. So, whatever I can get. And plus, our seasons just get so hot and muggy. So, flowers and that sort of stuff, I think probably everything that I'm starting now might end up going back out there. So, I think it'll be a good little blend of stuff for the yard and stuff for the patio as well. And I always do herbs that time of year because I can keep them in pots and keep them around. So I think I'm going to try and I had a lot of fun doing the pumpkin last year. So I was thinking about doing a couple cool gourds just for decorative purposes. Like it was just fun to grow. So that'll be the extent. But I think, around here, we don't do anything until after, probably second week of May. If you're putting stuff in the ground before then, you're taking a pretty big risk. So now's the time when a lot of people start doing things indoors. So start getting starters and that sort of stuff going. So be thinking about it. That's what I was doing. I was like, hey, get the catalog out, start dreaming, start narrowing down the list, because guaranteed I'm going to write a list of 30 things that I want to grow. And then I'm going to have to keep narrowing it down.
You said Baker's Creek?
Yeah. That's the one that I found. They're an heirloom seed company. That's out of Missouri, I believe. Johhny's is another one that we used on the farm quite a bit. So large scale if you're buying large, and lots of heirloom varieties. I love Baker Creek because they've got good stories to them.
I wouldn't trust anything from Johhny's.
No, tell me more.
Its name's Johhny.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, man, they're a pretty reputable seed company. From everywhere.
No, I actually have some of their stuff, and I have some of the Baker's Creek stuff.
Yeah, both of them I found.
Cots always gets the Baker's Street catalog too.
I love, Baker's
great
Creek.
catalog.
Shout out Baker's Creek.
Yeah, for sure.
I haven't placed my order yet this season. I'm kind of lagging on that, but.
Well, it doesn't help that you've been literally cast in the worst health cards constantly. You seem to be battling the super virus.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, what held it back was that I had a death in our chicken family. Because we had one of our beloved got, if you know what I mean. So I had to pivot and put a lot of infrastructure into keeping the birds safe. Because one of the things that we've got going on, it's a little bit early in the season, middle of the way through March. It's definitely time for some indoor stuff for us, but nothing's going on outside yet. But our show chickens are in, so we've got a living room, in our dining room, it's all set up with the young chicks, and we've got 4 Easter eggers and then 2 silkies. So they're hanging out, and that's little bit exciting. But as far as like the outdoor garden, we haven't done anything crazy yet. Well, I find if I start planting in February or the beginning of March, that nothing I plant really makes it outside. One thing or another happens, and I gotta wait, and the last frost gets pushed or something like that. We get a cold bit in April or something like that, and I just can't put anything out. And what happens is a lot of times, at least the way I was doing it before, my seedlings were dying off before I could transplant them out. And so we're not even going through that this year. We're just going to wait a little bit, and then we're going to plant everything at the same time. So, and we're planting all kinds of stuff this year. I'm hoping that we're going to get some Baker Creek in, but we got lucky because we had a local spot down the road that was selling local seed, and I'd rather plant local seed than whatever I can't get. I'll order from Baker's Creek. And honestly, it's the seed obsession for the vegetables. It matches my seed obsession for cannabis. So I have way too many seeds than I'll ever be able to plant anyway. And I just keep getting more. We just can't ever have enough. And unlike cannabis, where like, you know, on a good day, you can find a pack for 20 or 30, but most packs are 50, 60, 80, $100. I can get a pack at Baker's Creek for $4. $3.99, you know, so I can place an order and get 20 different varieties, and it's like buying one pack of, you know, of beans here. So yeah, it's an obsession there too,
especially with their catalog, and there's such beautiful photography, and you're going through it, and
yeah,
you know, it's like the new stuff. Like they've got such cool new cultivars of things and new ideas, and there's just so much in it. Like you said, it's like $5 for a quick little pouch of it. And so it's like, oh, I'll just throw another one of these on there, and there's gotta be, or, you know, the next thing you know,
get grabby. You just carton everything, and you're like, wow.
When I first found that website,
$25 order.
Yeah. When I first found that website, I remember like spending like an hour just looking at every single different type of vegetable and shit on there. I was like, and this is awesome.
It's always amazing how many there are and how specific some of the descriptions get too. You're like, holy shit, my childhood was a lie. What the hell?
Oh my gosh, yeah. When you get into it, you kind of pick your favorites and you collect within. So I'm like really big into pickling cucumbers specifically. So I have like 25 different packs of pickling cucumbers. Some of them I haven't even dug into yet. Cherry tomatoes. I love different varieties of cherry tomatoes. I call it garden candy because every time you go out there, you got a little piece of candy you can pick off the vine and just eat. And if you get different varietals, they'll taste different too. So you're going to have a different flavor for every little thing you pick off. I love it. I can't get enough of it. One of the other things that we found great success in last year, cucamelons. You guys ever heard of the Mexican sour gherkin? Oh my goodness, dude. We planted a couple in 5-gallon buckets and just threw them out in the yard for fun and put them into, put a tomato cage around it and just let them go. Insane.
Did you like them?
I couldn't get any of them because I came out into the garden later in the day because my wife and kids went out for the chickens in the morning, and they would eat all the cucamelons. I couldn't even get any after a while because we were obsessed with them. Good. Highly recommend if you can.
Fuck yeah, man! I'm gonna try them this year.
They're so fun, dude. Unbelievable.
Okay. How do you grow them? Are they a vining?
Yeah, they vine. They grow.
Okay. So they'll climb.
Very similar,
just like a cucumber.
Yeah, very similar to a cucumber, just a lot smaller and a little more fragile. The fickle plant in the beginning, but if you can get it to take off, it will literally take off. It'll explode, and you'll be getting, instead of a single plant, you can pick a handful off every single day to eat. And I was doing it in a 5-gallon bucket.
Nice.
So, but yeah, and it's a lot of fun. It's just before the storm in March. You'll hit me back in April, and there's going to be so much stuff going on. It's going to be wild.
Right.
You know, we're just finishing up the cold season. We like to start everything indoors because you do get a higher success rate if you transplant exactly when you need to. So we have a 5x5 tent that we're going to dedicate to it this year. I had a 2x4 last year. I gave that tent to our buddy Stir Fry, and because we wanted to upgrade, we just wanted a little bit more room. We're using a rack system this time, so I've got racks in the 5x5 that we're just putting all of our starts in under what I'm probably going to use a 315 ceramic metal halide in there. That'll just light up the whole thing. And then we're just going to plant everything. And instead of planting in the little cell containers, you guys know the little cell trays, we're going to plant directly into peat cups. So I have a little more wiggle room if I need to let them go a little bit more so that we have less die off. And that's what
you ever played around with soil blocks, making soil blocks?
Yeah, we were thinking about soil blocks.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're thinking about soil blocks.
Super cool. We used them on the farm.
Aren't those things expensive though? The cubers?
Yeah, I mean, but it's an investment.
You got to get a good one.
You know, and I think that they're starting to make smaller versions. Like we followed the Elliot Coleman methodology, right? And I think that was one of the things that he kind of core taught. And so we had, I think, 2 of them, pretty good full-sized ones. But it just was like, it was a no-brainer because I didn't know anything about agriculture when I started working there. I'd been in kitchens, right? And now all of a sudden I was helping them with some of the little bits of it and seeing what they were doing and seeing this like giant foot pedal thing that they had. And basically, if no one's heard of it, a soil blocker, it's basically take your soil mix now and you compress it into the little cube, like what you would see of your peat block. But it has a little dimple in it, like pre-staged dimple. And so you would pack this thing full, you tamp it, you step down into it, and then you just release it right into the tray. And then you've got a perfect soil block that when, they would be 2-3 weeks old from the greenhouse to go transplant out, then they were just dropping that one thing at a time. And it was just perfect. It was no different medium than the same soil that they were using in the ground. So I think they're making smaller versions of them now. If anyone ever gets interested or does more of this sort of blocking, like with your peat that you were talking about, Johhny, it'd be interesting to see.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how much it is specifically, but you can get the little 4-block presses for a relatively inexpensive price.
Yeah.
And they are great.
It takes a little practice in field to get the right moisture content. I remember the farmers would talk about it. Like, you had to have just the right amount so that it wouldn't fall apart when you blocked it. And it couldn't be too compressed because then it would be too hard. But it was a great mix that they were using for it too. So that definitely helped. But seeing it now, like we did it with microgreens too, right? Same kind of mix for it, but we just didn't block it all of the way out. So.
What about you, Mac? What are you throwing outside? Anything?
Yeah, I'm gonna just do peppers, cucumbers, the usual. We always do like tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchini. I grow some big ass zucchini, but I recently heard that it's easy to grow big zucchini. You just want to harvest it earlier because it'll taste better.
Yep. Yeah, the rind ends up really hard. But here's the thing is I've found that if you take those big ass zucchini, even though it's a little bit harder, you can take one fucking zucchini and you can make yourself some pickle relish and you won't even know the difference.
Oh, dude, we just use it for bread anyways. So
or bread too, but yeah. Pickle it for like dill pickle relish or even sweet pickle relish. You can't even tell that it's not a cucumber.
It's the larger that they are, the more fibers that they are. You can do like baked, like do a whole roasted squash. So treat it a little bit more like a butternut squash.
We've made like spaghetti boats and shit with them.
Yeah, it'll do much better once you go to that fiber. It's not, the flesh is going to be tender and soft and sweet the younger that it is, just like anything, right?
Yeah.
But so you just do it. You just adapt how you cook with it as it gets a little bit longer in the tooth, like that is kind of what we call it. So. Just bake it like it's a perfect way to do it, or make ratatouille out of it because it's a long simmered cook thing with tomatoes and that sort of stuff. It helps to break it down too. Man, you're getting me hungry for summer already. Ratatouille, squash, tomatoes, cucumbers.
That's
Getting hungry
basically what
already.
that's what my outdoor garden basically is this fucking salsa garden, man. I got
Heck
3
yeah.
4x8x2 beds. That's basically what I can do. I'm not going to sustain my family on
100%.
that, but if I can eat some fucking more nutrient dense shit and make a fucking salsa out of it, then all the better. Plus it's a little fun thing to do outside. So other than like those 3 beds that I got to plan out, I got some strawberries, a strawberry patch that I got growing. I got a raspberry a row of raspberry bushes. So
That's awesome.
that's
My
basically
wife
it. I try
loves.
to expand and I do like some little fucking herb garden out front and whatever else. But I only got an acre and I got 2 buildings on that acre, so it's fucking takes up a
Yeah.
lot of space.
Yeah.
Only got an acre. Fuck you. I forgot. Spring and then to summer, my favorite of all the sages comes back. I have a pineapple sage plant that I fucking love, and I love cooking with it. So I always get very excited about it. It's probably the one thing that I grow that I use the most.
Yeah, I've just got
Nice.
seed popping up now with some coriander, cilantro,
Nice.
right? And I think I've got parsley in there too. They got kind of mixed together, but I'm the worst at getting a bunch from the grocery store and using like 30% of it, and then it starts to get wet and slimy, and then it's too much for me. It smells like cut grass,
Oh
and I
yeah.
hate throwing that away like that. I just don't,
100%.
So I think in the couple rounds ago, I just started one little pots over in the corner. Now I still end up trimming to make sure that it's growing right, but I love using it like right off of it you can't beat the flavor. That's ultimately what it's all
yeah.
about. So when you were talking nutrients and all that, yes, but when you pull something right off the vine or when you pull it right out of the ground, like set aside the idea that you grew it and it tastes better for that purpose. Like a sun ripened tomato, like sun heated at the perfect temperature on like 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Dude,
Pretty
those
amazing.
fucking
Yeah, not an
those
ethyl sprayed one from the grocery store.
Exactly.
I think it's been said on the circle before, but I think Mac and I were talking about. But that first carrot, like the first real carrot you have out of the ground, and you're like, "Holy shit, carrots are sweet!"
Mhm.
It's always amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, they're delicious.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When you
I
were
grew
talking,
those pink tie-dye tomatoes this year, man. Oh man, those were so fucking good.
Yeah, I got some
Slice into
like
those and make a
blackish
tomato
purple
sandwich.
ones.
Those are those gradient ones, right?
Yeah, yep.
Those were gorgeous.
Yeah,
Dude,
they're
yeah.
beautiful fucking tomato, and they were so tasty. Yeah,
How do you
I
eat them?
probably will
BLTs?
again grow several, just regular tomato, man. Mayonnaise, tomato, and then sprinkle some salt on the
There you
tomato
go,
and
okay.
toast the bread. Bam, done.
Right
And no
on.
bacon and lettuce needed. They're just so juicy, so sweet. It's crazy. I mean, I will
Heck
eat a
yeah,
fucking
dude.
BLT with them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fucking bacon hater because I love bacon. I am a bacon nader, not a hater. Fucking.
We
But
know you.
no,
You
those
don't discriminate
tomatoes, man.
against any meat.
Nah, he loves meat. Male meat, favorite meat.
Any meat I can
Mailman meat.
swallow.
Mailman.
Stop.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Is that what you're most excited about? Is that what you think you used the most? Was those tie-dye tomatoes? Are you gonna grow them again or?
No, I don't think I'll do them this year.
Oh.
I actually, my aunt had given me a Jersey Devil plant, and those things were like the meatiest, big tomatoes, like perfect for saucing. So I'm going to do those again this year with the intention that I'm going to make some sauce this year. So I'm going to grow probably 4 of those out. And then I'm going to browse through Baker Creek and find an heirloom seed tomato that I want to grow as well. Because
Nice.
I want a sandwich tomato, but I want it to be heirloom. So I'm going to browse Baker Creek for
Yeah.
that and then grow the jerseys. And I think my sister really likes, just like Cots, you were saying, the cherry tomatoes. Picking up, my sister loves cherry tomatoes. So I think I'm going to grow her a cherry tomato in my garden because I just have that fucking soil for it. She didn't have success last year. So I want to throw something for her while we get her fucking soil up to par and everything else at her house, and I'll make sure that she gets some cherry tomatoes. So I think that for sure is what
Yeah, dude.
I got. But other than that, I'll figure out probably I can't do onions because I planted them too late. I should have done them in the fall, or I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, man, that's what I was excited about. But
Right on.
So I did my shit list entry already. What's everybody else got? What about you, Padre? Who's on your shit list this week or this month?
Zankeev, dude. He shared a picture today of his tent over on the Emerald Isle there, and it was fucking gorgeous. If you're hearing this, you can go check out I think it's in the Mango Smile channel, but I pinned it. It's a fucking just gorgeous tent. And he just constantly keeps growing amazing plants, and I'm of course very biased because of the country that he's from. But I wanted to give him a shout out for being a great member of the community and always there for a laugh.
Hell yeah, man. He's always around. I like hanging
He's
out
good
and having a
people.
chat with him every once in a while for sure. Shout out Zankeev.
Yeah, for sure, man. He's cool. Grows some beautiful plants too.
Yeah, he does. Go check him
yeah,
out.
he does.
His mango too is fantastic. What about you, Mac? Who's your shit list for the month?
So Sky High.
Oh,
Man, he's just killing it right now. He's got some beautiful plants going on. He's got 5 beautiful, healthy autos, and he's happy. And he's been doing, the community. We help each other a lot, right? And when someone new comes in, everybody is more than willing to help. And then to see that person now helping people,
amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's just cool, man, to see it like pay it forward,
Also, let's not forget his second grow, and he completely switched the way he was doing it. He tried it and went, I want to try this now.
Yeah.
And that's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's cool.
He's a great dude too. He's a solid.
Hell yeah, man.
Anytime you see him, talk to him. He's a great guy.
And someone asked why we call it the shit list and then compliment people, and I just said because we do what the fuck we want. So.
The average grow motherfucker. If you came here expecting logic,
I said it ain't supposed to make sense, motherfucker.
Hey, how does Eddie Murphy say this in my house?
Right on. What up, So Sky High? Great dude. Excellent beard too.
Yeah, dude. It's nice. Way better than this mustache.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say absolutely. Absolutely got the skinhead look down. Totally believes it all too. Go ask him. Cots, who do you want to go for?
I strong-armed Johhny for this one, but
There's a fist fight.
and pun fully intended there, because my pick this month is Strong Island Grower. So shout out Strong Island.
Yeah, for sure.
I had this guy in mind immediately because of his involvement in the cannabonsai movement, and he's just been killing it with his IG updates, and he's got some really awesome cookie smashers down right now in his pots, and that beautiful blue ceramic that he's got in his first one. I think he's doing his other one in a Dunkin' tub or something.
Yeah,
they're both super cool. So man, shout out Island killing game. So that's who I was.
Shout out Strong Island. I met up with him. He was out on the West Coast for I'm assuming some kind of punishment. That's the only reason I can imagine that he would be forced to go anywhere. No,
I hope he didn't get AIDS. Jeez.
No, I know. No, he was stuck in Disneyland. He was in the Disney cult, the Disney bubble, and a crime. But so we met up and talked, and dude, he has. First of all, he's a great dude. You'll hear more about that. We're gonna have him on, but he lives in paradise. He has this. I don't want to give away too much, but talk to him. He's a great dude, and he also huge with. We connect over some East Coast punk bands that I'm proud to admit that even I will like some East Coast bands. And Strong Island recognizes that, so shout out to him. All right, what about you, Stoney? First time, all the pressure.
Punk.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
I said all homeless people listen to punk.
Goddamn right. Got to fight the system because we didn't make mistakes. The system made them. I'm just kidding.
Get out of my bushes.
Yeah, get it. It's my bush, motherfucker. Stoney, no pressure. It's the first one.
Yeah, man. I mean, shitless. You guys know I have trouble with this. So as long as you reframe that, as long as we reframe that from it, but Jack like growing.
Oh,
And
hell yeah.
like I love it to see people come into the community and especially come into the Discord and just kind of immerse themselves. And the next thing you know, they're just like revealing parts and pieces of themselves and telling their stories. Like, it's just so cool that they come into you. And I know we had someone popped in today and it's like, oh, I was just kind of poking around and now all of a sudden, like, everyone's there welcoming them. And it's just really cool to see our community take people in and embrace them. And to your point, like, so Scott, like, I was one of those too. We were in the same class. Like, we both started around the same time, right? Don't forget. And like, now to see him have that confidence in the conversations and see the things that he's learning and now talking about in practice, like, same thing.
When you do shit right the first time, man, I mean, it is what it is. Like, you learn from people that know what they're talking about. You just have to trust that they won't steer you wrong, man. And there were so many of us giving out so much information that anybody could have. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see that for sure.
And I think we take it for granted because we're in this kind of small bubble or circle, like, we've got some really great people in this community that when you jump in and you ask questions and 3 or 4 or 5, 6 people come over and start answering it to it. Like, you see this, you see it as almost a common thread when you see people hang out, like, after about a month or so, and they get really, like, just comfortable in chatting, and it's a day-to-day thing. But you think about not that long ago, they were coming into it with these wide-eyed questions like, hey, I'm doing this. Does anyone have any idea? And you can tell that they probably were a little intimidated, but now they're talking shit and, talking about their failures, and they're the ones turning around and being the leaders for the next one. So
he must be
it's just
talking
really
about
cool.
howling buds.
I don't know.
We'll get into this. We'll grow his confidence ever more.
No,
he just needs to accept it.
If he doesn't start taking compliments, we've all agreed that
he's in there talking shit every day.
I know, motherfucker. Misses howling buds.
I think the key that, like, there's a key to this. Like,
you just got to be willing.
People
to
that explore, like, he explores.
Done.
He tries different things.
Yeah.
He messes things up, and he's just honest about it, and he's transparent about it. And I think that's what we all are endeared to about him. And he just needs all of us to say, yes, you're doing just fine, my friend. Keep going. Yeah. You're way better.
Just put his cat suit on and comfort himself.
Yeah. He has that furry convention coming up, booked in Long Beach. If you guys are interested, reach out to Hal. Jack Lake is a fantastic guy.
He is.
He's super nice if you talk to him. And I was just talking to him today. His wife takes fucking phenomenal pictures of frogs. So I'm not biased in that regard either. He didn't, I'm not glad that you chose him so I could talk about frogs for a little bit, but bother him to put together a frog book for us all so that we can.
I almost picked him, so I guess me and Stoney would have been boxing because I was like going back and forth. It's like I'm gonna take Sky High.
Yeah, y'all should know that we fight about you guys behind the scenes about who's gonna shout you guys out. It happens.
Yeah, exactly. It's terrible. It comes to breaking up relationships,
And after we mention you really do get put on a list.
We really do, yeah. So I was just updating it too.
Yeah,
because I'll forget if not. No, we love everybody who's a part of the community. One of the things that Stoney was saying, none of us take ourselves seriously. If you can't tell that, that's on you. We all make, we're all here to help, and we're just invested in making you get successful. We don't give a shit how you grow or how you want to do it. We just want you to succeed, man. Get some medicine in some jars and let's have some fun. Oh shit, I just thought I have to re-record the fucking intro to this new circle too, guys.
Oh, so that was the intro. You know how you said I didn't introduce everybody? You do introduce everybody every fucking episode, so I didn't have to introduce.
Oh, fuck you.
Thank you.
You're not allowed to disagree with me. Read the contract. No, I'm just kidding.
Shit.
I plead the fifth because I'm gonna have to take Johnny's side if I don't.
I'm just sitting here taking notes, so just scratching notes in my notebook here for the next one.
Everything we say in these circles can't be legally used against us in the next one. No, I'm kidding.
For sure.
All right. Well,
Does anybody else? Anybody got anything else they want to?
I was gonna say I wanted to give shout out to Mack Attack, baby. Got that Soulfire code.
Oh yeah.
Let's give yourself a little plug before we end.
Yeah, dude, 15% off on Soulfire's direct website, soulfiregardens.com. There's going to be a new drop coming up soon. It's the Utter Madness line. So be on the lookout for that because Utter Madness is pretty fire. It's one of the prettiest looking plants I've ever seen. So I would be looking forward to those crosses. But you can use the coupon code SFC Mack Attack for 15%.
Right on.
So it's pretty cool.
Hell yeah, man. Appreciate that. Thanks for being such a fucking mustache-looking cool guy and give us that badass code.
I know. Beautiful, man.
It's not.
Johhny's lost in your eyebrows. Eyes.
Yes, eyebrows. I have a thing for hair. That's why I mentioned the mustache. You were right on the first time.
I know.
Boy, there's some
I got them
sexy feel. Look at that.
caterpillars.
No, I was gonna say it looks good with the stash.
It looks like somebody grabbed a fucking like one of those thick Sharpies and just went.
Oh yeah. No, it's perfect, dude.
Nice.
Cots, what do you want to plug?
Well, between this episode and next episode, Al Brihe's got a drop. So
Oh yeah, right on.
You got
the
a
full
double
moon.
balance
What
good to
moon
go.
is it? Is it the fish moon?
Oh
What is
goodness,
it?
I don't know. It is a moon now.
Yeah.
It's a moon drop. Like it's a full moon drop. It's the
Yeah, for
6th.
sure.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one too, because that's a CBD mix, right? That's the
Yeah.
start, but
So
There's
he's got
two,
Balance
though.
Satuga
yeah.
Sour
and Sour
Perezosa.
Perezosa.
You've had some of that sour, haven't you, Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right on.
Yeah, it's good. I highly recommend it.
I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
I'm still all the way back at Juicy. Everything goes so long for me that I'm like months behind. The world's moving too fast. I'm scared.
I know. I totally skipped Juicy.
Yeah, I know. You had the tangy monster. You're like, dude, I'm busy fighting this end boss. Hold on.
I gotta revisit Juicy too.
Yeah, I
went
love
straight
her
for
so
Blue
far.
Espresso.
Yeah. I grabbed my
absolutely
pack
love
and
Blue
then
Espresso
I,
was my vibe.
yep, mine too.
I'm
I
the
was like,
yeah.
I need a broadleaf for next.
You did it.
Right,
You did what I
yeah.
did in reverse. I did what you did in reverse. I grew Juicy and took Blue off, basically. But I love Juicy. She's beautiful, man. Stoney, what do you want to plug after your first episode? I think you did great. I'd give you an A+. I think if anything, my one criticism, you were too professional.
Okay,
So knock that shit off.
Hey, fuck
No,
off, all right?
There you go.
I think he used too many normal words. I want to
Yeah.
file a complaint because I didn't need the Webster dictionary to understand.
Well,
what
you
he
guys,
was
you see, here's the thing. This
talking
is
about
this is
today.
why we needed him. We were getting complaints at the lack of educational content spewing out of Johnny's mouth. They were like, "This poor guy raised in a trailer park. Would somebody get this guy a fucking like translator?" And Stoney translates even better than Padre does. So it's just like it fucking works, man. Let's do this.
How
Yes,
dare
I'm
you
just-
take my title? How dare you? I worked hard. No one put in as much work as I did to have that bullshit title. I'm just kidding.
He brings in the class.
Yeah,
we
he-
went
he
from
classes
fucking
it
we
up.
went from OZ splits to OV splits to fucking 4-star wine here now.
I watched
so.
you deep throat 3 pieces of pizza.
I
You
know,
have
seriously.
no class. You have no class.
While
Yeah,
he
you-
was leading an episode, he was deep throating pizza, man. That's the
You heard
kind
it.
of
You said
leadership.
it. I led the episode. I digress.
Here we go. It's done. It's official now. It's recorded, man.
Now it's
recorded.
just
Led
the
by
next
Johhny.
whoever leads the next episode just has to deep throat a corn dog halfway through.
I'll pass on that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But yeah, Stoney, what do you got to plug after your excellent introduction episode?
Oh man. You know what? Odinson's growing along coming up real soon, starting I think in the beginning of April, right?
Yeah, and you got
Um,
like 2 weeks after the
yeah.
first. So from April 1st to April 14th.
Yeah, for sure. So if you haven't gotten them yet, get a hold. If you've got them, get them ready. So grow alongs, I think, is my big plug. There's also
only
the double grape coming up too. So
3 packs of Odin Sons left. So if you want to get in on
better
it,
get your hands on them. I was fortunate enough when I got my testers. I made the lucky happenstance, and he's like, "What else do you want?" And I'm like, that Odin Son sounds like a pretty cool one. So I was fortunate enough. I've been sitting on them and waiting. And then when the grow along came along, so that's my plug. Get into the grow alongs. They're so much fun to do together. So much fun. The double grape is not far behind that one too. So timing wise, so plenty of fun grow alongs coming up. Stick with ours with the grow together. So just an awesome way to do it.
Yeah, that's going on in Crafting Cannabis Discord.
Yeah, go to there. There's a whole section for it.
You can message one of us. We can get you a link if you're not in there or whatever. So,
and then Girls on the Grow has got the double grape as well. So,
grape.
And they're doing really cool where it's any sort of crosses back and forth is cool.
Yeah, kind of like what we did with the mango. Anything that it touched is pretty much into it. I wanted to say, don't forget, everybody, send a message to Big Green Guy complimenting him and saying congratulations on his drop. He loves that. What about you, Johhny? What do you got to plug?
Man, I got too much going on to plug too awful much. Yeah. Besides, let's just plug.
Was the pizza good? Can you at least rate the pizza? Can we get a review?
My local pizza shop is the best pizza in a fucking 20 square miles. Like, I bet
is
I would
the
bet
only one in
on
20 square miles? Because that would be kind of bullshit.
No.
What are your toppings, Johhny? It speaks volumes, buddy. Be careful.
Cheese, man.
Just
you go for a slice
to get
cheese. I just stop and get cheese, man.
What is this, prison, dude? Is this high school or what?
No, you stop for a slice.
Just
if I was,
cheese? Come on.
A slice, man.
Okay, hold on. That's a good argument.
Get a slice.
We now have odd numbers. What do you consider a slice? Would you get pepperoni or just cheese? I would go for toppings because I'm spending money. I want it to taste good. What about you, Cots?
Pepperoni all day.
Mack?
See, I'm conflicted because I love me a good cheese pizza, but
there's nothing wrong.
But I also love pepperoni.
Yeah, and Stoney, I think you spoke out the loudest in the opposition.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna go
need juice boxes with my cheese pizza, guys.
Cut into squares.
Little napkins.
No, I like Supreme. Really, that's what I like.
No, so my pizza of choice, if I'm gonna order fucking pizza like at home, it's bacon, black olives, and pepperoni.
Black olives.
Well, there's a combination.
That's a good one. I like pepperoni and black olive.
Tasty. The salt in the bacon and the pepperoni just offset those fucking olives so nice, man. That's fucking
pepperoni.
But no,
sausage.
when you stop in and grab a fucking slice like on the go, it's a slice of fucking cheese.
But they offer pepperoni too.
Or every once in a while, the chicken wing pizza. Even though I'm from fucking New York, I shouldn't be saying that. Yeah, man, a lot of fucking slices around here have chicken wing slices. They actually
is it like buffalo
hot wing
pizza?
Sauce.
Okay,
yeah, buffalo pizza,
buffalo chicken pizza. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, I got really confused. I was like, "How do you put in a fucking chicken wing on pizza and eating that shit? That seems unnecessary."
Bone in or bone out.
Exactly.
Skip a step. Flats your drummies for crying out loud.
Flats, man. You gotta do flats,
baby.
Flats, yeah.
Yep. You gotta eat the knuckle too if you're eating a flat.
Yeah, but that's gross, so I don't. Because I will say, at the end of the day, I'm fucking paying for it. I'll do what the fuck I want with it.
True.
I'm the same way.
Yeah. Do you eat it with a knife and a fork too?
Oh hell no! I don't even own knives or forks. They're extra weight.
Said that, dude. That just fucking killed me.
I just hate the edit. People are like, "Oh, it's not real wings." Like, fuck you. I paid for it. It's whatever I want it to be. I'm not gonna do something I don't want to do because of whatever you say.
That's awesome, man.
That being said, my opinion is always right. No, I'm just kidding. Well, right on, man. Anybody got anything else?
Nah, man.
No, now you made me hungry thinking about pizza. So
now I want
and watching Johhny clean his face off a little bit. So
anyone got anything exciting coming up for the? Because we won't see each other for a month.
I wish I could say so, but my grow has been shut down to those 12 seeds I have planted. So right now I'm a little bit behind. So there's my excitement.
I think a month from now I'll probably be talking about harvest.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I'm in perpetual. So I just can't wait for spring.
I'll probably be in the same situation as I am now. Mango will be the same size.
You'll still have 60 days left.
I'll still have 60 days. Yeah, I'm 60 days from 60
You'll be
days.
chopping on 4th of July.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. This was fun. Thank you all again for joining us. Another special shout out to Cots. All the seeds started landing.
Oh, yeah.
All the Astro Pie.
Mine.
Yeah, I saw that. Everyone's starting to get Astro Pie in.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Hell yeah, buddy.
If anybody has any question, ask Cots. I'm sure
we'll get a little bit. Maybe we'll get into that next time.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get
people will have these seats.
Yeah, we'll get more from Cots now that he's back from the dead.
I'm alive.
Poor guy.
I'm gonna start making packs. You're gonna see me. I'm like a little kid in a sweatshop in Sri Lanka, just shoving shit in bottles. Okay, I'm gonna do it. All right. We're gonna get them out. We're gonna get packs out. So if you've got them, you want to start them, go ahead. But if not, we're gonna do a grow along sometime soon. We're just gonna wait. We want this in more people's hands. That's
Can
basically
that be
it.
Solo cup grow along.
Oh hell yeah.
Whatever you want, whatever experience you like.
Okay,
really. But if you've got them, super happy about it. Thanks for coming onto the show. Thanks for being a guest. Thanks for being a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Another big shout out for Cots too. That picture of his iced and what the fuck was it called again? Yeah, I know. Fuck you. He gets 2 shout outs. Mack's giving me the sucking his dick sign. Iced and baked. Fuck it. Your picture looked good. Fuck you.
Dude, it was beautiful.
Aw, thank you.
Hey, as always, I just want to say I want to apologize to all of our listeners for listening, if you're still listening. So thank you.
If you made it this fucking far, then you really are sticking with us. So.
If you made it this far, you are probably now dumber.
Guarantee. Yeah, guarantee. Thank you, guys.
And if not, go get fucking dumber then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, dude.
Smoke some tangy.
Yeah. All right, let's go. The first super fan that doesn't have a pack of the Astro Pie that has listened this far, the first one to DM me, I'll send him a pack of fucking Astro Pie.
They have to DM you the word frog. They have to DM you the word frog.
First person that doesn't have a pack to DM me the word frog, I'll send you a pack of Astro Pie.
Yo, Johhny's holding, just so you know. Johhny's got some packs on hand right now. I don't know how many, but he's got some packs. So before I get more packs to him, he's got a few. So
I think I don't remember. I thought you said there was like 20 or 30 you sent me. I think I've
sent like at least 30
out. Another 12. Another one's got to go out on Monday. So I might hold off and send that one out Monday until let's see when this podcast gets released and when this person DMs me first.
Awesome.
Sweet. I just want to say
congratulations.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
See ya.
Peace.
Enjoy. We'll see you soon.